The story breaks out on the battlefield, right in the middle of total chaos. As a massive rock pile shakes the ground, a poor tanker struggles to survive with only a shield. Even if it looks like absolute chaos, this is actually just a low-level loser dungeon called Gargle. But our tanker friend gets disoriented after taking a punch right to the face. The teammate in the back is busy killing morale by shouting at him to stop getting beaten up instead of helping out. He says he needs to parry the attack to the side. Right then, the other group joins in, saying it's time to attack. While one guy's slaying the creature, the whole team gets hyped and starts hammering the golem from all sides with everything they've got. But this beating just enrages the golem instead of scaring it. That famous red light shines in its eyes. The creature is literally entering frenzy mode. The little shielded guy is warning everyone. Watch out, the guy's gone berserker mode and he's ordering them to close in on him. Mages start listing their skills, but when the one in the hat runs out of mana, he starts scolding the naive-looking kid in the back. He's screaming to give him mana, quick. That innocent boy getting scolded is our main character, Haruto Sano. Typical low-level hunter piece. Their only trick is feeding egos. As you can tell from this timid posture and trash ability, yes, unfortunately, this guy is our protagonist. The guy's talent is already pathetic. Plus, he has to perform weird, embarrassing rituals to push the blame onto others. When the golem attacks again, our hero shyly pumps mana into his friend. This allows the mage to relax and finish off the creature. Even though the dungeon is low level, the crew is in tatters, like they've come out of a world war. Then that muscular guy comes over and orders Sano to clean up like a scavenger, since he was useless during the raid. The group starts gossiping among themselves. Why is a guy with damage-dealing skills doing a grunt job like mana support? It says the orange-haired kid is technically in the attack class, but his only skill is generating mana. At least his mana doesn't run out, so he has an infinite resource. To be honest, even if the character is a loser, this ability is actually a cheat. I mean, we're talking infinite mana here, no joke. Just as the other guy is thinking that, the harsh reality hits him. In this world, mages can already draw mana from priests. So Sanon's thing isn't even that big of a deal. Adding a hat type. That's why this loser hasn't even hit level 30 after swinging a pickaxe at rocks for 5 years. Sano thinks to himself that these bullies are raising their voices just so he can hear them. No matter what they say, he has no intention of giving up. At least for now. The scene changes. We are at the Great Sage Guild building. Our hero slams his fist on the table and asks why he was sent to the production department. The old official calmly says, "Unfortunately, son." He's implying that she's a burden, since there's no one left at the company low level enough to go hunting with her. Someone stuck at level 29 whose only trick is mana production could never become a pro hunter. Sano is struggling, claiming it works. It screams that it provides nearly infinite mana, and what's more, it's about to reach the critical threshold of level 30. But Goto points out that most mages and healers already have mana absorption, making Haruto's work pointless. What's even going to change if you reach level 30? Adjusting his glasses, he tells that chilling truth. The decision has already been made from above. Either accept it now, or there's Haruto understands the situation. Yes, it's over. If he objects to this, he'll definitely be expelled from the guild. A broken man remembers his bank's last words. "We don't see any potential in you." The poor man just sits there like that. He's wondering how he suddenly ended up without a job. The truth is, everyone thinks his talent is only mana transfer. But things are a bit different than they seem. Of course, our boy didn't tell the secret to anyone. A screen pops up as he stares blankly at the rice ball in his hand. It asks if you want to copy the item using the control boost. The moment he clicks, yes, lights flash and boom. The rice ball is multiplying in his hand. Exactly, folks, the guy's talent is literally copy and paste. He's literally walking around like a human Windows OS. But there's a catch. The thing he copied vanishes the second it leaves his hand. So, no copying legendary weapons to strike it rich. Dreams of getting rich are fading away. Even worse, you need to be level 90 just to copy that crappy dagger. So what is he doing to help people right now? It's copying its own meaning. He keeps the original for himself, and gives the copy to someone else. Since she kept the original, its meaning never ends. He tried copying other abilities, but the requirements are so crazy he can't even get close. All they want is to level up a few more times. That's the moment his life will change forever, once he starts duplicating equipment. Game over. After that point no one can stop him. Right then, he sees a news story on his phone. The long sword of the Callous Dragon has arrived in Japan. This item is so rare and broken that the moment you use it, you instantly jump 200 levels. No way. I've played plenty of RPGs in my life, but I've never seen such a broken item. It literally breaks the game's balance. The only problem? You must be at least level 30 to use this merit. The moment he imagines holding the sword, he starts drooling. If he could copy that power just once and make it permanent. Boom! His level would instantly jump to 230. But there's one small snag. The sword only just arrived in Japan. Plus, its durability is hitting rock bottom. So after a few hunts, it'll be ours to keep. That's why instead of using it, they just put it on display as a decoration. And on paper, this is a golden opportunity for that copying ability. All they have to do is desperately scramble to reach level 30 within a week. A few days pass, and we still don't know what this creature is. It's not a flying bat, and it's certainly not a bird. Or massive blood-sucking mosquitoes? Wait a minute. It has 6 legs, so these probably aren't spiders, right? Actually, I don't know why I called those things full of teeth just bloodsuckers. They're straight-up monsters. Man, they aren't kidding. This is an unlicensed, unregistered illegal site unrecognized by the guild. Some blonde snob is turning around and begging for help. Our poor Haruto is over there, too, serving as a live battery, his only purpose. Thanks to him, that guy fires off a massive flame spell and turns the place into a living hell. Our loser just sits there, sighing as he thinks about the gap between them. He steals a glance at the status window, wishing he had leveled up. Suddenly another man appears out of nowhere behind him and tells him to stop staring blankly at the windows. Just by looking, nothing's going to change. Haruto says he took it and apologizes immediately. The guy takes the hit and adds. He says if you keep standing there, you'll have to buy him a beer for the show once the dungeon is cleared. At least this guy is like-minded. Which means, according to the script, he's definitely going to die. Poor guy. His name is Ikeda. Let's see how many more seconds he can breathe in this story. Haruto actually feels hopeful. Look, it's an illegal dungeon and all, but at least there's a chance to level up. They're heading deeper into the cave. Suddenly, one of them says stop and puts everyone on high alert. They're about to enter the queen's lair. Right there, behind the column. A massive nightmare surrounded by a nest full of eggs. Her name? Arachne. Level 81 creature. Are you kidding me? It's a bit beyond our lead actor's pay scale, don't you think? The kid's already thinking if he gets caught in one of those legs, he'll vaporize and vanish into the air. Someone's asking why Haruto is shaking. Weren't they going to fight? Alright, the spider might look like an easy catch, but keep your eyes peeled. If you're caught by the mother, you'll wait there packaged up until she eats you alive. It's also better to stay away from eggs. Aggressive little monsters could pop out at any moment. Then the blonde guy yells at the leader to stop talking like a tour guide. It's like Haruto's just out there on a trip. And Haruto's doing what he does best. He stands quietly and stays out of it. Then our blonde genius rushes forward in a rage and kicks a stone on the ground. And the stone goes and sticks to the web. The queen wakes up instantly and lunges to deliver a bite. The tank throws himself forward, screaming that they're screwed because of this stupid mage. But the guy turned out to be a total monster. Not only does he block the attack, but he also slices off the spider's leg. He orders everyone to scatter and not mess with the eggs. The group is attacking from all sides. As the swords fly toward the creature's mouth, our boy Haruto cringes behind a pillar. It's mind-blowing that they're actually effective against a level 80 boss. Suddenly, the spider turns around and aims its back at everyone. The tank is screaming to hide behind the columns, but that blonde idiot has already prepared another fireball, rambling about how they've killed this creature many times before and there's nothing to fear. Fires the attack, and web bombs scatter everywhere. It's exploding on the cave walls. The fire spell hits, but it doesn't even tickle the creature. While the guy's shouting that his pride won't let him back down, Haruto tries to warn him, but it's already too late. The man keeps performing magic. Tank with a bandana is screaming to stop the eggs from cracking. But Haruto sees the film snap. The eggs are cracking and snapping. Tank is about to say something, but he gets slapped and hits the floor. Right then, Ikeda appears shouting. They're coming from everywhere. And yes, the webs are spreading everywhere, wrapping everyone up and sticking them to the floor and the pillars. I hope that blonde snob who ruined everything is the first to die. And thank God, he's dying in despair, screaming and being crushed. Our boy Sonu Haruto is clinging to the pillar now, watching his buddy get chewed up and swallowed. Place your bets. Option 1. Levels up at the last second, copies the skill, and saves the day. Option 2. A stunning woman comes and saves him. Option 3. You die like a nobody and the story ends here. After tearing his spider friend apart, he lunges at Haruto, claws him, cuts the web, and sends him flying. Blood is gushing from every hole in the kid's face. And right then, a prompt appears on the system screen asking whether or not to paste the copied data. That's the moment our cheeky guy smirks, realizing his talent isn't trash after all. When you copy and paste, everything else gets erased, but that stays just as it is. That's why whenever he enters a dungeon, he creates a save file in the system just to be safe. Just like in a game, whenever he kicks the bucket, he just pastes himself into another location. And that old, useless body he left behind evaporates and disappears. Damn it, I made 56 betting slips and not even one of them won. It turns out the copy he created was somehow inside himself. Adam is literally walking around like a human cloning machine. So every time he dies, he respawns and comes back to life. Die, revive again. It's a total vicious cycle. Now he's cowering behind the pillar, all beat up and broken, just waiting there in pieces. He isn't dying, but he can't escape either. Right then, he sees one of the unlucky ones stuck in the nets. The team leader we took for dead is begging for help in a pathetic state. But Haruto knows all too well there's no salvation left for that man. As the dungeon boss turns everything into hell, Haruto decides to go for one last crazy move. Because after all that pain, the thought of dying without leaving a single scratch on the creature cut him to the quick. The moment the boss attacks, Haruto swings his sword at the creature's leg and successfully parries the blow. Right at that second, scoring a successful hit, he finally levels up with the experience points from the system. But before he can even check the notification, boom, the boss hits him so hard in the chest that the sound of bones cracking echoes. But ours is prepared again, already backed it up and clung to life with a copy-paste combo. The only problem is your attacks don't even bother this massive beast like a fly bite. But our sneaky guy is about to turn into a total zero character. Even if he has to die hundreds of times, he's determined to take this monster down eventually. The creature attacks again, and Haruto runs at it like he's on a suicide mission. Muttering that he'll win by drawing, like many drops make an ocean. Exactly 3 days pass. After countless deaths and with most of his teammates' weapons broken, Haruto has reached a whole new level. Meanwhile, the Spider Queen is acting all miserable. It can't heal any of the damage it's taken. With one last effort, he fires another wave of webs, but ours won't fall for it this time. He's now gotten so used to the speed of the incoming attacks he can handle them with his eyes closed. The queen claws at her again. Haruto jumps up, climbs his leg, and reaches straight for his head. Die already! He screams, plunging his sword into the creature's brain. And the sword snaps in half instantly, like a cheap toothpick. The creature flings him off, slamming him down, and lets out a deafening roar. Just as it's about to bite and finish it off, deep cracks start forming on its body. The health bar is finally hitting zero. The queen is shattered and exploding, and Haruto just collapses there like a toy with a dead battery. He's died so many times his brain has turned to mush. And ding ding ding. The screen is suddenly flooded with level-up notifications and rewards. The reward for defeating the Great Spider Queen finally finds its owner. Our fake superhero decides to go check on his friend after 3 days. But just as he's about to step, a massive object falls right next to him with a crash. He looks up and thing is, he's got no weapons left, and the guy next to him is completely trashed. He doesn't want to just leave him there to die. The story takes us back 2 hours in a flashback scene to a car driving across a bridge in Tokyo. A level 112 soldier named Morgan asks a girl named Eris how many times she has been to Japan. The girl is a level 131 mage and says it's her second coming. The soldier asks if it's her mom's hometown, but she cuts him off. There's only one reason why he's here. Something very special he's looking for is hidden in a dungeon in Japan. Morgan says it'd be great if he finds it, but the girl warns him. If he sticks his nose in their business too much, it won't end well. Just then, the announcement system confirms the truck is passing through the dungeon. Rainbow Gate or Rainbow Bridge Dungeon. Whatever it is, there's a rainbow inside, a bridge, and of course, a dungeon. Word is all electronic devices will be disabled for 5 minutes due to electromagnetic waves. There's a dungeon right under the bridge, and the man inside is dying to check it out. In a nearby office, there's a hunter named Shinoda Satoru. Level 21. So basically just a low-level rookie. He's complaining about how boring it is here. The friend next to him tells him to his face that he's bored because he only got the job through nepotism. And let's be honest, without connections, it's impossible to land a sweet gig like this. Suddenly, a squishy slime hits Satoru's leg. Ours leans down, picks up the creature and says, "Oh, how cute is this?" It's much cuter than those scary, disgusting creatures you find deep in the dungeons. He's asking if it's normal for these little ones to be outside. The other guy says yes, but the tremble in his voice gives it all away. And bam! Something strikes Satoru's back like a sledgehammer. The massive shadow he sees when he turns around is enough to tell him that a giant is about to turn him into jam. Yes, game over. The guy literally turned into mincemeat. Now we return to the present. Our dear Senu Haruto managed to survive again with the famous Control-C, Control-V trick. He's got his sights set on level 50. That's usually the threshold where things start getting easier. It means finally finding decent dungeon groups and, of course, better parties. It means better loot and more XP. He's content with his life, in good spirits, and feels his time to shine has finally come. Suddenly a crowd pushes and shoves past him. They're shouting for him to get out of the way. Our guy's confused, trying to figure out why everyone is running around like headless chickens. Someone's out front. They're asking if they'll sneak in before the big guilds take over the place. The other guy's panicking, saying, "We have to, man. Because that legendary sword is being transferred right now." Grant gets the news but makes a face. Good news, the sword is right under our noses. Bad news, a massive dungeon gate exploded on top of the Ham Union building in that area. Planes are prepping for takeoff, but things are already a mess. Hunters are set on protecting that legendary longsword. Because yes, that piece of metal is worth a fortune, man. But suddenly, he steps onto the stage. Our toughest, "Don't mess with me" looking sister we've seen in days is barking out orders. That's what leadership is. He roars that upon boarding, the unit's priority is slaying monsters and saving civilians, not loot. He says we'll talk later and puts an end to it. Just then, a shrill voice pipes up from behind. "Take me with you, for God's sake." The woman ignores it and tells everyone to board. And of course, no surprise there, our boy Sano is clinging like a leech again, begging. This guy's bragging about being in the guild for 5 years and knowing everyone. He admits he's weak, but he's dying to save the civilians. Look at that lie. She's shocked. He's probably wondering what this walking trash bag is even doing on the battlefield. Our Haruto is giving an Oscar-worthy dramatic performance about saving lives. As for Nanes, she's so tired of arguing that she's just like, "Fine, just go already." He takes a deep breath and lets her in. And bam, next thing you know, he's inside with a big grin. She mentions in passing that she heard he rescued a rookie in the spider's nest. Wow, what an angel he is, he thinks. Our guy's saying thanks, but he's laughing diabolically on the inside. "I only saved that brat because you were going to lose money, my naive girl." Just like now, his only concern is loot. The other hunters are starting to gossip. Didn't we clear the Rainbow Bridge dungeon 3 weeks ago? Why is this exploding again? Nanes is experienced. These things happen. He says we must always be ready. Their goal is to prevent that nightmare from 15 years ago from happening again. And hop, flashback. Thanks, Haruto. We love watching their traumas. Back then, dungeon gates were popping up all over the place like popcorn. With too few hunters left on Earth, the creatures began a human hunting spree. It was a bloodbath. Right in the middle of that chaos, Haruto's mother was flattened like a pancake under a car. But that day, he locked eyes with a divine being from another dimension. And he got that damn talent, or let's call it a curse. It's hard to tell what's happening. The voice whispered. It's only been 20 years. What does this mean? Skill duration? His remaining life? Or is it something else? All they know is that strange mark on their neck and that the clock is ticking. He's sure that being only came because of the great catastrophe. Maybe my reading hour is counting down to the next apocalypse. If so, he only has 5 years left. 5 long years to become the strongest hunter. Time is running out. Back to the bridge and boom. The door blew wide open. Cars are flying like toys in the air. Gravity cancelled. It's absolute chaos everywhere. The hunters on the ground are already dead. There's no one left to protect the civilians. A little goblin's trying to skewer a kid, but the brat stabs him back. Just as another creature is about to attack from behind, it gets split in half in midair. Just a minute. Aren't these the ones who survived that psycho orc attack? They turned out to be tougher than they look. The man is scolding the spoiled rich kid. Next time, I won't save you. Focus. Turns out, just as that orc was about to crush them, the man grabbed the child and saved him from death. They barely survived. Shinoda Satoru. Her eyes are full of tears. He's upset because this man saved me twice. He's asking for support teams, but his savior is suspicious. Something's going wrong, kid. They're on their way anyway. The plan is simple for now. Don't be a hero. Cross the bridge and meet the team. Right then, a massive bear is crushing a truck like a tin can. This is a level 190 monster. Behind him, Grant asks while trembling. Will the truck hold up, boss? Ares is relaxed. I've activated maximum level defense. Even a level 400 monster couldn't scratch it. It says. Everyone looks at the sky with hope. They think the great sage's ships have arrived. But no. Grant is yelling. Are you blind? Watch it. Is that an eagle? What they saw wasn't an eagle or anything. A massive dragon named Kaiser. Nana, brace for impact. They're screaming. The monster charges terrifying energy in its mouth, and boom! Direct hit on the ship. The bridge is shaking, it's collapsing, everything is falling apart. But wait a second. Where are the guild ships? On top of the dragon? Or is it downstairs? Honestly, I'm blinded too. It's unclear who's hitting whom. 1 second, we're on the bridge. Then, while we're on the ship, the dragon breathes another fireball, and this time it actually takes the ship down. Total chaos. People are jumping down to fight. Nana's has landed already. One of the officials acts like they're in control. They're all confident, but let's be honest, they've got side character death flag written all over their foreheads. Nana's asks about our hunter in the meantime. Was his name Hajin or Haruto? Even the writers couldn't decide, don't worry about it. But the woman is certain. That crafty guy won't die here. And before he even finishes, he blasts the Hellfire spell and starts the show. It looks like water, but it hits the boss monster like a sledgehammer. Our Haruto, on the other hand, glides through the air and webs a lamppost, swinging around like a knockoff Spider-Man. People are dying left and right. This guy's still obsessed with forging a copy of that legendary dragon sword. The hunter unit is pushing the bridge, but they're all shaking in their boots. They're shaking with fear. They're whining that this is over our heads and way too dangerous. No one wants to face the Kaiser's wrath, but it's the quickest way to close the door. By the way, Haruto is as relaxed among those butchered monster corpses as if he's out for a Sunday stroll. They act like everyone else is so weak. But the thing about wolves is they never travel alone. Nearby, Satoru Shinoda is mowing down enemies, but the poor guy is screaming his lungs out. As for his buddy earlier, he took a nasty bite to the ribs. It's not looking good for him. Haruto takes a look at the view, analyzes the situation, and just walks away thinking, whatever. The man's got enough on his plate as it is. That giant of a man who saved his friend is shouting at Haruto to run away. He says you can't survive this hell without becoming a top-tier hunter. Right then, a massive claw strikes the ground, and the whole family joins the party. These are moonwolves. Even if they're level 15, they'll swarm you like ants. Don't take them lightly. Shinoda Satoru might not be the main character, but he's got the heart of a lion. She's shouting that her senior was injured while protecting me. Then I'll die protecting her, damn it. This display of loyalty reminds Haruto of that moment in the spider dungeon. And here we go again. Is he going to do something heroically stupid again? A wolf is flying at Haruto. Looks like our boy is about to become a snack. Wait, I thought Haruto would save him, but the rookie turns around and takes the wolf's head off himself. Another one sneaks up from behind, and the kid blocks that one too. Looks like Haruto's really not going to help. It's like he's just sitting back, snacking on seeds and watching. The third wolf jumps on the boy's neck. Finally, our lead steps in and shoulder tackles the monster midair. Come on, Haruto, at least bring a weapon or something next time. He's asking the kid if he's okay. The kid's good, but he says, "Look around you, bro." The monster count is still overwhelming. "Run, kid, save yourself," he says. Even if they're low level, this crowd is uncontrollable. But Haruto's got that creepy smirk on his face. Just the kind of chaos I was looking for. The boy, who looks like Haruto's younger brother, is frozen in shock. Haruto takes something out of his inventory. That item he's so frustrated about not selling. Now the maniac is excited to see how it'll merge with his talent. The wolves are attacking. Satoru screams in panic. But Haruto glues the control V right then. He unleashes the massive cobweb ability copied from the boss onto the field. The wolves are suddenly tangling with each other. Drowning, struggling, crashing into each other. They stick together like meatballs covered in spaghetti sauce. They have zero chance to resist. In seconds, a massive ball of monsters forms, unable to move. Haruto's just standing there like a boss, enjoying all the incoming XP. As he guessed, the area freeze ability is perfect for horde wars. Satoru's lying on the ground, giving off those godlike looks. He's asking if the hunter squad sent you. Technically Haruto isn't lying, he's just saying, "Huh. After all, they got off the same helicopter." Am I lying? With great humility, the wounded man asks Haruto to save Satoru. As long as the child doesn't die. But of course, our rookie never would. It's in the mood of not leaving a senior behind. Haruto is surprised by this die-hard friendship. These men would die for each other. I wouldn't sacrifice a fingernail for anyone. Feeling a bit emotional, our guy pulls a potion from his inventory and throws it to them. He says it won't let you fight, but at least it will keep you from pushing up daisies. The injured man is in shock because that potion is worth a fortune. Haruto, I just want to see you make it out of here alive. He says take your senior and get the hell out of here. Satoru is officially in love right now. Hearts are going to pop out of the boy's eyes. He says thank you emotionally and says his name is Kang Sunk. Alright, noted, new names stay in Korean, but the old ones continue in Japanese. The author is confused. Haruto doesn't care, of course. He stops suddenly as he turns to leave and drops the real bombshell. Seen any international hunters around here, you sly dog? It's clear they're pursuing the team carrying that legendary sword. By the way, that massive bear approaching the truck? Urza sings it a lullaby and puts it right out. It's like a fly is barking, lady. As Grand admires the woman's non-lethal skills, a buzz is heard in the air. His reflexes are superhuman. It splits the flying object in two in midair. He grumbles that it was obvious they tried to steal the sword. In the middle of all this chaos, Urzen's expression instantly changes. A masked group emerges from the shadows. They say you have sharp eyes, but you'd better give us that sword. It looks like chaos will break out before Grant can even open his mouth. The enemy had already made their move. Grant blocks the incoming attack and roars. Being the guardian of this sword isn't for everyone, of course. He tells Eris to pull back, but the fool is charging ahead as if he has a death wish. Eris said don't do it, but who's listening, and the expected end. Our guy freezes up right in the middle of the attack. He falls to his knees. And blood is gushing out of his mouth. Pathetic. He doesn't know what hit him. His brain is fried. Eris explains the situation. They used that curse poison to block my mana absorption. One hint of power, and he's a dead man. The masked leader grins, saying they never underestimated them. How kind, isn't it? Eris rubs it in their faces how pathetic they are for using items banned by the Union. Things are heating up as the magic circle on her finger begins to glow. Things are about to get real messy. He throws a fireball at him and makes fun of him. They say a mage without purpose is as good as dead. Oh, you're so ignorant. The mistake of your life. In a second, 30% of the man's head and shoulders are vaporized. Knockout in one shot. The guy drops to the ground like a sack. The enemy leader runs for the sword, but his group has already been turned into mincemeat. People being thrown off the bridge? The ones eaten alive? A total feast of chaos. The masked commander finally realizes the situation. Eris didn't kill the monster. She just sang a lullaby and put them to sleep. When he had no other choice. He leaves piles of bodies behind and makes a run for it. At that moment, Grant realizes in horror that they can't put that giant boss back to sleep. Eris confirms the bitter truth. Its meaning has dried up. Everything he did was just to disable the monster's power. So the battery's dead. Grant is complaining as usual. He mutters that Erizin will die one day because he refuses to use violence. The girl replies with that sweet smile of hers. Maybe I'll die. But you will keep on living. And boom. He sacrifices himself for a heroic end and charges forward. You know, those cliché power-up scenes. Oh my god, the guy is screaming don't do it, but the girl keeps running on a suicide course towards the bear. The anti-manic venom is still flowing through your veins, of course. He's vomiting blood all along the way, but he doesn't stop. He's trying to push on, but his mana is gone and his body is on the verge of collapse. Just as the monster is about to bring down that massive claw, someone hits copy-paste, baby. Oh man. Right at the climax, and the episode just ends? I thought they'd give the girl some meaning, and she'd put the monster back to sleep. Maybe it would help put him to sleep or something. But no. Our guy has already wrapped the boss monster up in a massive web cocoon. And he slams that package onto the ground so hard, it shakes the earth. Whoa, no way. Man, if your talent isn't cheating, then what is? The monster turned into an ancient mummy. His friend Saturn is left speechless, of course. In shock again. She can't stop praising our boy. They're saying you're great and all. But Haruto wants to get them out of there as soon as possible. But things aren't that easy. He's asking if they're okay. He adds, "Are you together?" Eris stares blankly in confusion. Did he speak alien or something? Maybe she didn't understand him. Grant jumps up and asks if Haruto came to steal the sword. Look at that confidence. Think Haruto, the king of lies, would stop? Of course not, he says he came to protect. But they're not naive enough to just trust some guy off the street. They've just been ambushed, and as he looks around, Haruto figures it out. He sees what happens to those who chase the sword. And yes, if he makes it out of here alive, he should consider himself lucky. It'll be a miracle if he gets out in one piece. Right then, Satoru pulls out his hunter ID and asks, "We saved your lives, why are you treating us like criminals?" Haruto is secretly happy. Finally, this kid is actually useful. With perfect timing, Haruto immediately pulls out and hands over 2 mana potions. It's telling you to pull yourselves together. You can tell they're completely exhausted. Do you have any idea how many dungeon coins those potions cost? But he's willing to pay this price to get closer to the sword. Our duo had no other choice, so they had to. They take the potions and hesitate for a moment. Then they knock it back. Eris stays on alert, keeping her eyes fixed on the boss monster. More Union ships are appearing on the hill. The other guilds finally decided to show up. Muscle Man says we're good for now. But he says let the newcomers deal with that boss. Eris is still standing there shouting while running on top of the monster. The boss is about to move to stage 3. Since the other guilds have arrived, our priority must be to evacuate the civilians. Suddenly someone asks when they can just hang out. A guy with glasses and tattoos is calling out to Nanes. With a very relaxed and casual manner, he says it's been a long time. Name, Shirasaki Masato. Level 503. Class, Dark Wizard. Yeah, this guy seems like a bit of a show-off. Per Nanes, in all her innocence, is asking why she's even here. The guy shrugs and says, "Isn't it obvious?" The girl said not to, but it was already too late. A massive magic circle appears beneath the man. Even while the circle is forming, the girl keeps begging. He's shouting for them to stop. Because if that spell doesn't kill the boss, all hell will break loose. But the man answers arrogantly. It's exactly because you worry about such small things that you'll never rise up. He's looking to kill that thing alone and pocket dozens of high-level loot. And boom, the dark lightning spell explodes. Yeah. The boss monster is caught in a fiery energy storm and pulled upward. Nanes is screaming at the top of her lungs. Everyone run. With the ground collapsing, the bridge falls apart, and everything drifts into the dark void. And Haruto suddenly appears with that annoying innocence of his, as if he hadn't just cheated death. At least ours is alive. Let's be thankful for that. He even uses that famous moon leap ability of his to save those four fools about to fall right off the rope. But in the scene where he climbs up, he comes face to face with that massive, disgusting boss with all those teeth. While thinking if the creature was dead or just packed up, that arrogant Shirasaki suddenly enters the scene. He says Haruto is doing pretty well for a low-level hunter. Seeing the emblem on his chest, our boy realizes this guy is from the Future Guild, one of the 3 most powerful guilds in the country. Our guy's got some real guts, man. It's working. Ask this elite snob why he didn't evacuate the civilians. I totally thought she'd scold me and say, "Who do you think you are, loser?" But no. Shirasaki is acting quite calm. It states that civilians have already been evacuated, and the creature named Keisha doesn't look very alive. Then he moves toward the spiderwebs with that cool walk of his. It looks like he's impressed by how the ability is being used. He never expected anything so creative. Then suddenly, all of Haruto's webs melt away and that massive bear is torn to pieces. Haruto is obviously terrified, because Shirasaki caused all this carnage just by moving his pinky finger. But hey, since Haruto was the one who nailed the monster, his level starts jumping like crazy. On top of that, he's grabbing a fat reward from the system for taking down the bear. Shirasaki hears those sweet leveling up sounds and asks if she was the one who tied up the creature. He's surprised that Haruto could achieve something like this. The real kicker is the guy apologizing for stealing the kill. A move we never expected. He slams a claw into the ground, gives it to Haruto, and says stealing isn't in his book. Just as Haruto is about to say something, Nanase bursts in, panting and shouting his name. The poor girl is overjoyed to see that he's not dead. When Shirasaki notices the two know each other, he realizes Haruto is from the Union, and his annoyance with our boy grows by the second. When Nanase asks if anything's wrong, Haruto just shrugs it off with his usual indifferent attitude. When the girl asks for help carrying the creature, he gets confused. Why would they do the heavy lifting when they could just kill and move on? Nanase is explaining what happens if the boss enters its second phase. The creature could turn into a killing machine and attack relentlessly. Worst of all, a monster this size could reach phase 3, which means the city would be wiped off the map. As Haruto tries to process this disaster scenario, he looks at the monster, and at that moment, its eye opens and locks onto them. While Nanase trembles with fear, chaos-loving Shirasaki starts to smirk because he'll get a better reward. Strangely, Nanase turns around and says she believes Haruto will survive. But he claims our four-eyed kid is already toast, and says they should focus on the boss. As the two rush into battle, they scream at the girl to run, but Haruto grabs a horn from the ground and mutters that he must subdue the Quasar before those two punks do, even if it wasn't in his plan. Excuse me, our loser suddenly turned into a lion. Toru pops up like a total hype man, questioning why he's back. While Eris monitors the networks, Haruto says she needs to do him a favor. The situation is critical. Kisa is about to enter stage 3, and if that happens, Eris will attack so hard that everything left will turn to dust. If this happens, not only will people die, but that precious sword will also be lost. That's why he needs to borrow the sword to take down the boss and stop the apocalypse. He swears he'll give it back right after using, well, copying it. He brings water from the binder and tries to explain, but Eris says it's impossible. The amount of mana needed to open the truck is massive, and they don't have that much energy right now. Grant catches the detail right away. The girl didn't say no. He only mentioned a lack of mana. Anyway, being a mana battery is what Haruto does best. Without wasting any time, he starts showering the girl with meaning. Eris flushes and turns pale at this strange desire, completely caught off guard. Hey, calm down, little lady. No need to make this weird. And boom. The truck's seal breaks as easily as a knife through butter. Haruto shouts his thanks and promise, then brushes inside. Grant is rightfully on edge. The brat will either steal the sword and run, or die with it in his hands. Both scenarios are a disaster. For some reason, Eris trusts him because he neutralized the bear instead of killing it. But according to Grant, that's not enough of a reason to trust someone. Finally, Haruto opens the truck door. And he steps inside to take that legendary sword. But of course, peace is forbidden to us. One of the thieves suddenly appears behind him and stabs him in the stomach. While their teammates above are screaming, Those level 100 guards are just standing there like NPCs. Our boy collapses into the truck like a trash bag. The thief opens the box and chuckles wickedly, saying he finally has the sword. But as Haruto loses consciousness, his net ability also deactivates. The truck breaks off the bridge and goes into a free fall toward the river. Could they come back? Copy and paste. Sticking ability kicks in. And Haruto appears safe and sound right behind the thief. Without saying a word, she gives his shoulder a nasty blow. The guy collapses like a sack of potatoes, and the sword is finally in our boy's hands. Of course, the first thing he does is try the copy command. But it's a mistake. User level too low to copy this item. I knew something would go wrong anyway. Copying a legendary sword at level 30? Come on, that's beyond impossible. Before our Haruto can even lift a finger, that guy he just stabbed in the back returns like a ghost. Exactly. The guy literally turned on God mode, gets up, and stabs Haruto one more time. Are you serious, man? What kind of nightmare is this? Did this guy's Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V keys get stuck or what? Flesh and bone are squelching as they regenerate. Honestly, I'm gonna be sick. What is he doing? He's reaching for that damn sword again. And this time he's not joking, he's going straight for the kill. Haruto is already writhing in pain. Just one question on your mind. I wonder if my copy-paste skill is still active? Fearing for his life, yet still chasing loot. That's when the long-awaited divine voice is heard. The system message is blowing up in our faces. Contact has been made with the legendary sword. Skill absorption copied. This feature increases defense by 35%. Adds lifesteal. Plus, it gives you maniac mode, which means a rage burst. Since Haruto's HP dropped below 25%, the system went, "Go get him, champ," and automatically maxed out his berserker mode. Meanwhile, on the bridge, the dragon Quetzal is preparing a mega attack that will turn everything into hell. Shirasaki and Nanase are breaking into a cold sweat. It's impossible for them to stop this power. But wait, just when you think it's all over, a dark figure lunges from the center of the bridge. Before the dragon can even let out a roar, it gets split in half like a watermelon. No way, this must be our boy's doing. System confirmation received. Quetzal packed and dungeon cleared. Okay, technically he used that broken cheat sword that gives him plus 230 levels, but whatever. Even if he couldn't copy the sword itself, he drained its perks, its skills, and that's enough. The scene changes. The Hunters Association is buzzing like a group of gossiping neighbors. Everyone's talking about what happened at the bridge. The crisis was solved in under 2 hours, but the media is still not satisfied. They're nagging and pouring out complaints. Futaka, president of the Japan Hunters Association and a level 570 priest, turns off the TV saying, "Enough! They're going to investigate for themselves exactly how Quetzalin died." Then Takeuchi walks in. The guy is literally a tattooed Mike Tyson. Level 701 just got curious and came by, sir. You know when you go to a party where you don't know anyone and you just stand there like an idiot? The vibe is exactly that tense. And now you have to meet everyone one by one. Next up is Shinoda Makoto. Level 610, a healer from another guild. Wow, everyone is gathering. It's like the Avengers, bless them. But their goal isn't to save the world. Seizing the dungeon loot rights. A regional war is starting as we know it. Technically, that dungeon belongs to Great Sage Haruto's guild and Nane's team, but who cares? Just look at Nane's. In that suit, she's giving total businesswoman vibes, acting like she's already the CEO. Our tattooed Mike Tyson is swaggering around, blaming the girl for not handling the creature. Nanes takes a deep breath and slams her hand on the table. The room's atmosphere turns ice cold. The girl didn't just hit the table. He broke the entire conference table in half. Shirasaki opens a barrier out of fear. Poor guy barely avoids getting shanked at the last second. People are looking at each other, wondering if she's alright. Spoiler alert, no. His emotional balance is hanging by a thread. He could snap any moment. Just as Takeuchi is about to speak, someone shouts his name. The incoming unit leader steps in, calling for calm and apologizing on Nane's behalf. Takeuchi tells Nanes that if she keeps this up, she'll end up in the graveyard. I'm confused, my friend. The guy's over level 700, while the girl is stuck in the 200s. So level isn't everything, you also need heart. Nanes doesn't even care about the guy. She stands up, saying she'll personally explain what the hell happened on the bridge. Shirasaki was also there, so they wrote him down as a witness. He says he was there, but it's like pulling teeth to get him to talk. Since he didn't see a reward, the punk doubted how legal that killing was. The leader is softening the situation with politician talk. He's trying to calm things down by saying the damage would have been worse without Shirasaki. A trace of awkward applause in the room. But Shirasaki looks miserable. She's absolutely fuming. The guy is missing a piece of the puzzle in his head, and it's driving him crazy. Inside, he swears he'll make Nanes pay for this humiliation. And of course, her real hatred is for that mystery person who stole the Quetzal score, our boy. It's unclear why she's so livid, but Nanes puts her foot down, saying she'll investigate what happened in the dungeon herself. He says he'll deal with every guild that didn't send help one by one. Then he lays down the law and walks off all cool, as if the matter is settled. Just then, Gran and Ares burst into the room. They've got some fresh gossip. They've figured out the inside story. Gran sets off the bomb. They took advantage of the chaos and stole the legendary sword. They want full cooperation. He throws the official document from the International Union onto the table. Takeuchi's being skeptical. He's asking, "Wasn't it you guys who broke the sword's seal?" And Ares just smugly says, "Yeah, it was us, he's right. But the big bombshell is coming now. They got help from 2 hunters while opening the seal. One is Sana Haruto, the other is Shinoda Satoru. Things suddenly get chaotic. Wait, did our boy Haruto and his sidekick just swipe the sword?" Everyone's panicking, asking each other, "Who the hell is this Sana Haruto?" The leader knows Satoru, but has no idea about Haruto. He's got a real man of mystery vibe now. Nanes bites her tongue out of frustration. He knows exactly who that scumbag is. Beside him, Shirasaki wears a devious smirk. Opportunity for revenge has come to you. He turns and asks Ares, "Are you talking about that brat who's using the Spider Queen in?" And he adds, "He was crawling around like a loser in battle, but he was definitely with the Alliance. I even saw them chatting with Nanes like best friends." Snitch, the scene's changing. We're moving into a dark place. Someone's looking at the sword. Is that him? Is this the sword of Galicia we managed to steal? They ask. Some guy named Kurosaki Takumi, level 301, is just staring at the sword. His eyes are popping out, he's almost losing his mind. He just stands there frozen. This sword is such a cheat that the moment you grab the hilt, it grants you exactly 200 levels. What is that? You've reached level 101 already? Well, if it isn't you, you sneaky little mouse. Kurosaki says it was worth every penny of the millions he spent to trigger that dungeon collapse and drag the boss out. Even the masked guy is frozen in shock. After all, he was the one who created this chaos. But Kurosaki has another question on his mind. Why were his men wiped out? The pathetic pawn is on its knees, begging. He's mumbling that they ran into some weird guy, but that he's already pushing up daisies. You felt that cold breath, didn't you? Poor fool, he just spilled the most critical piece of info. The chance of getting out of here alive is below 0. Kurosaki throws a bag full of money on the ground and says, "Take this and live your life." He says, "Just enjoy yourself." The guy is screaming with joy like he hit the jackpot. But I'd bet every single bill in that bag that he's about to be dead. Then Kurosaki asks that fatal question. "You're not thinking of selling the info about the sword once we're out of here, are you?" The man jumps up in fear. He says he would never commit such a betrayal. Backing away, he screams that their leader was a bastard planning to discard them from the start, and right then, Kurosaki finishes it in one move. The fewer witnesses, the more peace, he says, making it clear he doesn't want anyone knocking on his door. Poor guy hit the wall and split open like a watermelon. It's a scene covered in blood. All right, those who bet against me, cough up the cash. Didn't I tell you? But wait, with a single sword strike, the weapon's durability dropped from 10 to 2. No way. At this rate, that sword can only cut 4 mountains at most. The scene shifts, as Harglas appears and whispers it's a gift. Haruto bolts upright in bed, drenched in sweat. That cursed tattoo on your neck is burning like hellfire. Did that ominous thing start acting up again? Right then, that total nuisance Satoru bursts into the room and jumps on him. He hugs the child so tight, you think it's 40 years of longing, and says he thought he was going to die. Sal is crying her eyes out as she describes how the massive attack from the ocean destroyed the monster. Another beat-up guy in the room asks if they're on the bridge. Our boy Haruto is fed up with this conversation. He stands up, says you're too energetic for someone who's almost dead, and goes to rest. But the man in the bed clarifies that, contrary to how it looks, the boy was only trying to help. Turns out, this Satoru was the one who saved Haruto before Nanes and the others arrived. Haruto recalls the guild leader's name is Shinoda Makoto, and his Latin name is Shinoda Satoru. But he gives up instantly. This weak snot-nosed kid can have a connection to that legend, right? And our cameras return to the Hunters Guild office. Nanes asks him if Haruto is really dead. Grant confirms the situation, but there's not a hint of surprise on her face. After all, a hunter's death is as common as having breakfast. The Alliance leader says they've contacted several guilds to get that legendary sword back. Eris steps in, adding that they need high-level hunters because she's already located the sword. Even the leader takes his hat off to this speed. He knew his team was good, but he didn't expect this much. He's shocked they found the sword's location just like that. Eris explains that the sword emits a unique energy wave and that she can detect it like radar. Nanes is also adding to it. No one had any intelligence on this weapon before things broke out. So when someone steals it, it's easy to tell. That's why they let him use it one last time. Eris reminds in a panic. The sword's durability was only 10 points, and it's already spent. It could break and turn to dust at any moment. If the sword is destroyed, he'll lose the only lead to finding his mother, who vanished 15 years ago. The room suddenly turns ice cold. Nanes throws a folder on the desk and says, "You're not the only one digging into people's pasts, honey." He knows damn well why Eris clings to that sword. It's her last hope to find her missing mother. Eris stands up with a beam of light. I thought he'd cause total chaos, but no, surprisingly, he's begging Nanes for help. He says they can't let that sword be destroyed. Our scene shifts to the hallway. Nanes is walking down the hallway in businesswoman mode, deep in thought. He knows those inside are hiding something. Also, Hunter Sun's death makes no sense to him. That kid wasn't the type to give up and die. Just then, Shinoda appears and asks why he looks so miserable. Nanes brushes it off and asks what he's doing there. The man says it's now time to return to the stage guild. Now I'm absolutely sure this guy is the guild master and definitely has a connection to Satoru. Their lineage speaks for itself. One is Shinoda Makoto, the other is Shinoda Satoru. Nanes responds with a biting comeback. Dungeons are popping up like mushrooms, and hunters are dying like flies. Other guilds aren't even lifting a finger. They have no other concern but incorporating and chasing fame and money. And the bridge disaster showed that when things got serious, he wasn't ready to take any action. That's why he's not coming back. They have a lot to handle together. And he drops the bombshell. Besides, there's a lot unresolved here, Dad. Whoa, what did you just say? So that's Satoru's sister, and this man is their father. The whole family is involved. Only the groom is missing, and he'll turn up soon. Ours is grinning wickedly while telling the girl not to worry about everything so much. He's one of those carefree types who wouldn't care if the world burned. But he drops a bombshell on his way out, saying you should stop by a hospital before heading back. Speaking of hospitals, let's switch the cameras to our leading man, Haruto. Holy cow, the guy is level 76 already. Did you turn on cheats, my friend? He's the king of leveling up, but he looks like he's sucking on a lemon. He's moping because he couldn't copy the sword, but the skills he's gained are absolutely jaw-dropping. And that rage mode? It's pure killing machine stuff. That talent literally saved his life. The sword had given him a temporary 200 level buff. On top of that, it doubled the rage mode stats. That was the secret to how he sliced through the level 400 monster like a hot knife through butter. And at the end of this massacre, the system gave him a nice reward, of course. Turns out he just sucked up Koichi's shockwave ability. And the system didn't stop there. It evolved the ability into something troublesome called resonance frequency. It's not over. And the spiderweb skill has jumped to level 2. Do you know what this means? Now, once you activate this net, it combines the shockwave and lifesteal to pull off insane combos. Our guy's putting on a show for himself in the elevator. Their ego is through the roof. It's not just about stacking talent. It all flows and syncs together like clockwork. But wait, here's the real kicker. Level 76 plus 200. Hey editor, slap that status window on the screen so everyone can feast their eyes. Do you see? I hope the editor is listening to me. I hope that little gremlin did what I told him. When I said he copied the sword's effect, I only meant its abilities. But it's a different story, folks. That guy even copied that level 200 buff. So that's why he was flexing and grinning in the elevator like a certified psychopath. He calls himself an elite level 276 hunter just to show off. Then, she's startled by a familiar screech echoing through the hospital lobby. Nanace is ranting and raving. He's raising hell, scolding someone because they didn't listen when he said it was dangerous and told them to run. Our boy quickly takes cover, of course. He didn't expect such a monster to come out of the girl. And what on earth is he doing at the hospital? Turns out it was our Satoru who got chewed out. When the kid calls her sister, the truth comes out. Family drama loading. The brat's blaming his sister because she couldn't clear the monster. Haruto finally gets it. The girl's name is Nane Shinoda. Wonderful. Everywhere I turn, it's another Shinoda. Damn it, now I get why that hulking brute of a man was killing himself just to keep Satoru alive. Nanace changes the subject after roasting the kid. Haritoya asks, wondering if that weakling Bulda is there too. Haruto is hiding like a mouse. Remember, when he went there, he acted like he was one of the unit. No one has a clue. In her eyes, you're just the clan's weak, nameless rookie. Just as he's trying to sneak away, bad luck strikes and he bumps into someone. Hey, now look at this. Standing right in front of Grant. Wow, you're alive? He sneers. You sword thief. The timing couldn't be worse. Just as Haruto was about to hit the field, this guy is more than ready for round 2 in the ring. Grant grabs ours by the collar and pins him to the wall. Whoa, take it easy, champ. What's with all the aggression? Hit the brakes hard, brother. Does the boy have a sword on him? But Grant, bless him, has already figured it out. He's asking why you're posing as a guild member. He's practically demanding an explanation. Haruto tries to mumble something, but it's no use. Grant cuts him off. He's accusing ours of collaborating with that gang of thieves. The execution order has already been given. Haruto realizes this bear won't listen to reason. The moment Grant draws his sword from the portal, the soldier rushes on stage and yells, "Stop! Who attacks like this, you maniac?" But Grant's gone rogue. He's literally saying he won't rest until he kills this brat. Take it easy, Blondie. Now Haruto needs to do a solid copy-paste. Resonant frequency active. Grant's fancy sword shatters into pieces instantly. Nanace and Satoru are watching it live. Nanasenen's jaw dropped, of course. Wait, what the hell is Koichi's ability doing in Haruto? The scene changes. We just drop right into the middle of a K-pop concert. There's a girl dancing on stage, drenched in sweat, with glowing abs. An army of thirsty fans is cheering down there. In the next scene, the girl jumps into the car. Name's Erita Sarah. Profession idol group member. So the girl is both an idol and a hunter? Anyway, they didn't even show its level. He says goodbye to his group and runs off. He hops in a Ferrari and floors it. The girls in the back have already started gossiping. Rich? Noble? Where to in the Ferrari, princess? Sarah floors the gas. About to have a head-on collision with a jeep while taking a sharp turn. He slams on the brakes and saves himself at the last second. She yells out the window to watch where he's going, but her face turns pale the moment she sees the man get out of the car. It's Takumi Kurosaki, also known as the sword thief. Sarah goes silent as a grave when she sees the man. They clearly know each other. The guy throws that sword onto the girl's $1 million Ferrari like it's a trash bag. He's asking how the concert was. I hope he's okay, because we're going to the dungeon. They say we'll go back to the old days if you're in. I don't know what kind of toxic relationship they have, but the girl wasn't into this at all. The camera returns to the building where Haruto settled things with his grand shockwave. But alas, the place is empty, everyone's gone. They're way too late. Nanace asks desperately. Are we going to wait for the sword to be used again to find it? A deep silence in the room. Just as it seemed over, Haruto suddenly screams. Blood Tower. He says the guy who stabbed him mumbled this before passing out. But whatever that thing is, nobody has a clue. It's probably the work of one of those dark organizations lurking in the shadows. Grant is breaking out in a sweat. It says the sword's life is almost at its end. If they keep wasting time like this, they're in for a bad end. Nanace tells her not to panic, saying she knows someone who knows these shady types' dirty secrets. The scene is changing, friends. We see a little girl crawling on the ground. He got his talent from a strange entity 15 years ago. At first, he thought he was just an ordinary awakened hunter. But he soon realized that the talent he possessed was a much more mysterious and broken mechanic. Are you ready? The girl literally has Control plus C. You heard that right. It undoes errors. Personally, I wonder who has Alt F4, but that key probably only works once in a lifetime. Our daughter started collecting old junk like a rag and bone man as soon as she woke up. He polishes them up and sells them. Technically, he doesn't have a healer's skill, but he's making a killing repairing people's broken stuff. Okay, I figured it out now. The girl's power isn't healing, it's restoring people and objects. Rolling back to previous states. Makes sense. But the real question is, does this power have a limit, and what price does he pay for using it? The little girl literally exhausted herself to find some money. His parents are in the hospital in critical condition. He tried to restore them to their former healthy state. But the problem is, this takes oceans of mana. With that little mana, she can only heal minor scratches. So, to deepen his spirit, he began working as a porter in the dungeons. When people get hurt, he secretly pretends to be a healer. But here's the reality. For those who awaken with just skill rather than as true hunters, surviving these dungeons is next to impossible. She's begging for a little meaning from that fake, husband-looking guy. The guy keeps asking why she's always begging. He's a total bully. When those lowlifes see a girl alone in a dungeon, of course they immediately try to harass her. But no one expected the girl to split them in half with a single move. Just then, someone walks in and says this is an interesting sight. The one who arrived is none other than that sneaky snake, Takumi Kurosaki. And yes, the girl in front of us is definitely none other than that famous idol, Sarah Aritat. While showering the girl's house with gifts like Santa Claus, he asks why she lives in this dump despite all her money. The place is truly pathetic, man. With stacks of champagne bottles like mountains behind him, he's scarfing down sushi he ordered on his phone. This sob story even got to me, Kurosaki. Kurosaki calls him out, pointing out how weird it is for an idol like him to eat 3 instant meals a day. Then he gives the answer himself, of course. The girl eats whatever she wants, then hits Control plus C when she gains weight. Hub looks like a model again. A diabolical mind. The guy realized he's always been this way. After all, while someone was dying right before her eyes, the girl's only concern was stealing and selling the man's shield. Kurosaki is sure the girl's soul is just as broken as his. Our daughter doesn't seem at all happy about dealing with this snake. He doesn't care about the job, but he's questioning why they absolutely have to enter a dungeon this time. Why didn't he bring the meaning to his feet like usual? That's when the man pulls out the famous Kalishan sword and says, "You need to Control plus C this." But the amount of mana required for this is insane. The man tells her not to worry, saying this will be his last job. Surprise! Arya asks if you finally found that item called the Infinite Mana Generator. The man says no, but adds that there's a good chance something like that could emerge. And for one last time, he wants her to come with him. Honestly, it looks more like a suicide mission where he fixes the sword and dies there. Hop, we're heading into the world of the future. Our Haruto and Nanes are there. Haruto wonders how these guys know even more than the top guilds. Nanes explains the situation. When it comes to dungeons and destroying them, no one has better intel than this guy. Masato Shirosaki is waiting for us in the meeting room. Yeah, that annoying guy with glasses and the scarred face. And as you guessed, he's talking about that legendary infinite mana generator. It seems like unlimited mana is as casual a topic as buying bread at the market. It's like the game's cheat code is broken. Nane says as far as she knows, this item sometimes drops as a reward from the Golem Mountain dungeon. But killing the boss there is worse than death. Shirosaki says he knew this, so they mobilized the whole team just to gather information. And during this search, they encountered a group called Blood Tower. Never heard the name before, but it seems they've also set their sights on the same snowy golem dungeon. At first glance, they look like an ordinary crew, but they're way more trouble than expected. Kidnapping, assassination, robbing other teams, you name it. For Haruto, infinite mana items are trash, but for the rest of the world, they are priceless treasures. What Haruto doesn't understand is what this has to do with swords, and why they're after the golem. Maybe they'll use the sword to kill the boss, but its durability is spent. Also, are you sure that sword is more valuable than a mana item? Nanace asks if the blood group boss might have found it already. Otherwise, why would they be moving? Eris steps in and says no way. That dungeon was discovered 15 years ago, and still, no one has found that item. Just as Haruto was about to ask how he knew that, she cuts him off. He says, "Calm down, I'll explain." Turns out, she's been researching this for a long time. Cardog Prison's reputation precedes it. It's truly the cold face of death. Most hunters tremble at the name and refuse to even enter. Shirazaki says this is the assassin's favorite spot to lure and finish off victims, and it definitely reeks of something fishy in there. While Haruto was wondering when these guys would attack, it turns out they had already finished their preparations. Just as our guy suspected, they've been planning this setup from the very start. Nana shifts gears the moment she catches on. He says they shouldn't waste any time and turns to Shirazaki. And he's asking if you have a strike team ready at your disposal. The man puts his hand on his chest, denying it as if to say, "No way," but Nana's not buying it. He's rubbing it in your face that you know damn well the future guild always keeps a backup team stashed away. The bridge incident was settled in a flash, thanks to the team saved for emergency dungeons. Shirazaki stands there like a guilty child. He admits she knows a lot, but mumbles that not everything she knows is true. The truth is, he doesn't have a suicide squad ready to drive into a hellhole like this at a moment's notice. This isn't an ordinary dungeon, it's the cursed snow mountain, swarming with golems. Golems being level 40 might look easy on paper. But Shirazaki is already on the field with a fully equipped squad. And guess who's leading the pack? Of course it's our boy Haruto. The team pushes forward and slaps the golems, but the creatures instantly respawn and counterattack. Shirazaki. While complaining about how much I hate these damn places, suddenly, something unexpected happens. This knockoff Harry Potter from the slums pulls out his wand, pulls all the golems to one spot, and puts on a show by blowing them all sky high. Red jewel fragments start falling from the sky. The guy's shouting tactics at everyone, telling them the secret is to destroy the cores. That sidekick Oscar starts punching the ground and praising the guy as if he were the Messiah. Meanwhile, Haruto's just standing there with that little sword, staring blankly around like a total NPC. Going back a bit, Ares explained that to trigger the mini-boss upon entering the dungeon, they had to commit a genocide, meaning they had to take down every golem in their path. This type of dungeon is called an induction dungeon. Haruto, and honestly, we have no idea what the hell this is either. Shirazaki cuts in, complaining again and showing his disgust for places like this. The logic is simply a dungeon within a dungeon. In normal hunts, you can skip low-level areas and run straight to the boss to save time. But clearing every section is required to open the next door in the induction dungeons. One single mistake and it's game over, and you'll be locked in. Ares adds that 15 years ago a moron messed up here and caused a rift. Since that day, no one knows what kind of horror is hidden inside or what they might face. So just killing the golems isn't enough, you need to be quick. Because the rival team is also after the key, and reaching the goal before them is a matter of life and death. Back to the action, Haruto's confidence skyrockets once he grabs the sword. It copy-pastes the spiderweb ability and turns the place into a total disaster. A golem turns into mincemeat instantly. People are in shock. Whoa, did this guy just use a boss skill? Giving the looks. Ares freezes the golems with ice spells while purple finishes the job. Then another golem drops like a sledgehammer on the poor side characters. Just as the extras are done, our girl steps on stage, taking down the boss without even bothering to strike. Then he snaps his fingers to activate the bird's shockwave. Wait, does he have that ability too? I thought only Haruto was the special child. The woman is asking if everyone is okay. The crowd is nodding along, but he spots a loser in the group trying to hide his face. When the mask falls, yes, it's him again. Our envoy of chaos Satoru is at it again. She's defending herself, claiming she's officially part of Haruto's group and that her being here is perfectly natural. Wait a second, when did Haruto form a group? We flash back to the hospital scene when Haruto mentioned going to the dungeon, and Satoru had a total teenage meltdown, causing a huge scene just to show off one last time for his senpai. He had no intention of leaving her alone. The moment Haruto agreed, he started glowing like a romantic anime character. But Haruto set a condition: if she wanted to come, she had to join as a member of his own group. Back in the dungeon, Nana can't figure out Haruto's plan. Satoru tells the woman that she should show more respect to her senpai. Right to his face, he drops the bombshell that he saw Haruto cut Kisha in half with his own eyes. Nana is starting to think she might be right. Haruto has clearly grown stronger since their last encounter, and those webs are exploding like supernovas now. Abilities? The story seems consistent. The real question is how he did it. Meanwhile, in another corner of the dungeon, the strange duo, Erita, who looks like a K-pop idol, and our lovely sword thief Kurazaki Takumi, have set up camp on the mountainside. Down there, they're enjoying watching people struggle for their lives. The rest of their teams are posing as another raiding party nearby. They're waiting for the perfect moment to stir things up. The only problem is, there are 2 high-level monster hunters in the main group. So, sneaking up like that isn't really possible, but as long as they don't get too close, they can put their sneaky plans into action. Kurazaki asserts that efficiency is the core of our guild and then turns to Erita. Our guy is asking the girl if she's gathered enough mana. Turns out those mana chargers he gave us are actually worth a fortune. To fill just a single one, you need to send over 100 monsters to the afterlife. That horrible dungeon rift on the bridge? Turns out our guy blew the place up by overloading those machines. Erita has only one question in mind. How many more of these gadgets are needed to revive that cursed sword? The answer hits him like a slap in the face. At least 20. The girl is rebelling, of course. He's snapping at us, asking if we're just going to sit and hide like lambs. But our guy is quite brazen. Exactly, he says that's the plan. Especially since the next level of the dungeon is protected by an impassable barrier, they have no other choice. The only thing that can cut through that barrier is the Kalish dragon's sword. Erita's eyes narrow with suspicion, and he asks where on earth you dug up this secret information. Our guy snaps at her, saying, "Don't ask, no details for you." The poor girl sighs deeply, accepting just how crazy the man's plans are. But after getting a freezing, soul-chilling look from Shirasakiden, he backs down instantly. He says he's just kidding and immediately gets all defensive. As long as there's a contract, there's no problem. She doesn't even care what the hell he's doing. His real goal is to seize the treasure of infinite light and wake his dead parents from that dark sleep. We head back to the bloody heat of the battlefield. Our boy Haruto says they've already taken down over 200 golem scraps. But it feels like a drop in the ocean, like I'm making no progress. When a giant dies, a core drops out, but this damn thing feels different this time. And strangely, as if it were alive, it slips from your hand and sticks to the floor. Right then, Shirasaki steps in like a harbinger of doom. The process has begun, he says calmly. The first cleaning stage is finished. Now, it's time to move to the second circle of hell. Time to meet Kardak's famous mini-boss, level 150, Shifting Golem. A massive heap, straight out of a nightmare. He jumps on them so suddenly, slapping people like they owe him money, that bastard. Shirasaki is shouting at the top of his lungs to fall back. The creature shatters on impact, but wait, as the name suggests, this is a shape-shifting golem. Did you think it would be that easy to die? It reassembles its pieces in seconds and attacks again. Shirasaki lands another one, but it's no use. Whenever that damn thing shatters, its core scurries away like a rat, hiding somewhere else and knitting a new body around itself. Haruto comes up with a wicked idea. He'll use a spider web to stop the core's movement. With a copy-paste command, it hits the bullseye every time. The golem thinks he caught me right as I'm regenerating, but where is he? The creature is pulling itself back together effortlessly. Ugh, it didn't even work as well as toilet paper. They need to find a way to destroy this plague before the pieces merge. Someone's shouting, "Haruto, get out of there, you idiot!" The moment he turns around, Nanny's unleashes a massive blue doomsday blast onto the golem's chest. But the golem still won't budge. Physical attacks, magic attacks, it's not the guy's skin that's thick, it's his ego. Nanny says we need to join forces. At Shirasaki, he's like, "Good morning, dear, did you just figure that out?" while nodding. Now Haruto understands why people are avoiding this dungeon like the plague. Eris had warned him. Who's listening? This place is a total death trap because of that mini-boss. And since it's a damn instance dungeon, I can't just say I'm not playing and leave. The core absorbs the dead golem corpses on the ground, keeping its health practically infinite. Shirasaki explains the situation. We're not just fighting this boss. We're fighting everything we've killed so far. Because of all the suffering and time loss, most hunters don't even come near this place. But of course, our people have no other choice. To reach the final boss, they must deal with this horde and overcome this obstacle. Nanny's offers two options. Either we split the core, or we destroy everything we've killed. On the battlefield, the boss dances in blue flames. Judging by that cold drop of sweat on Nanny's forehead, things are going sideways. The monster is sneakily reforming behind the girl. Turns at the last second and fires another hellfire shot. Haruto wants to help, but if he uses the sword's power, his secret will be exposed. Eris is already onto it. At the slightest mistake, she'll be all over the kid. And ours is a master at keeping things under the radar, of course. No one in this world should know about his copy-paste trick, it's so clever. Then he remembers the item the bear dropped on the bridge. Skill 1, nail the target right where they are. The second skill inflicts painful damage over time. He's copy-pasting right onto that bad boy. Even better, he's layering this with his spiderweb ability. Now the web doesn't just emit a shockwave, it grips the enemy tight like a pro wrestler. And it doesn't stop there. The bear's second ability leeches the enemy's mana and health. Haruto is finally ready to take the stage. Meanwhile, Nanace is left all alone in the middle of the flames. Watching with her mouth open, she wonders in amazement if this girl is seriously trying to melt every single piece of the golem. But it's no use, the same old story. The demonic creature ends up behind him again. The girl throws a giant fireball at the mountain. Seriously, is she finding this money out of the goodness of her heart? Where is all this cash coming from? But the golem walks right through the flames, giving a nod. And he's setting up that massive fist. Looks like the girl's battery finally ran out. But whenever a waifu is in danger, a hero appears. Haruto jumps onto the stage and wraps the monster up like a cocoon. And you wouldn't believe how he's showing off. Nanace and Shirasaki are in shock. The guy literally froze the mini-boss like he was catching a fly. Nanace snaps out of the shock and screams. He roars out, "Quit posing and attack already, man!" That's the moment Haruto announces he's found a genius way to keep the core from escaping. Shirasaki isn't arguing, but his eyes say it all. Fine, damn it, but I'll make you pay dearly for giving me orders later. Haruto blasts another massive spell from the air, and the golem practically turns to dust. Right then, the monster's tasty core is exposed for all to see. Ours combines control and networking capabilities, but this time, the bear's claws are involved too. This net doesn't just hold the opponent, my friend. The net suddenly transforms into a salivating mouth full of teeth, biting and locking onto the core. Of course, Shirasaki catches on the moment he sees this scene. That bear's ability was trash. But somehow Haruto managed to take this heap of junk and turn it into a lethal weapon. Nanace is starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together. It's using the Spider Queen's abilities. Plus, she was there with that other guy. He was also the one who fought on the bridge during the Battle of Kusha. Now that the seed of doubt's been planted in her mind. Or is this guy that famous Control plus C, Control plus V freak? But then says never mind. She's grateful he's always there to save the day whenever they're in trouble. Even Eris couldn't resist showering ours with praise. The whole team suddenly gets hyped up. They have a golden opportunity to split the core. But there's someone nearby who isn't happy about this at all. Kurosaki Takumi. Even Erita is frozen in shock, trying to figure out how that kid stopped the core's movement. The real problem is they needed the war to continue just to keep exploiting the meaning there. Then Shino, too, says they need to go off-plan and orders everyone to take their positions. Man, that masked group sneaks up on everyone, nobody notices a thing, and no one hears even a single sound. Erita is asking if the boss needs to intervene personally. The man's answer is clear. He says things went south when that weird kid locked the core. While Erita stands there between the containers, Satora approaches from the shadows, watching everything. He notices the man who looks like the leader leaving, but what should he do now? Plus, the questions of why that girl was there and why she had such a terrifying amount of mana are still lingering. Now we understand why that jackal went invisible right before entering the dungeon. It turns out Haruto secretly handed her an item, saying it would provide camouflage. The plan is simple. They'll avoid combat as much as possible and turn invisible when the chance arises to hunt down the enemy likely hiding there. Back to the dungeon, Satora's confidence is through the roof, especially with solid sidekicks like Shirasaki and Nanesa by our hero's side. Honestly, seeing the scene, I thought she'd think exactly that, but the kid trusts Haruto so much she sees only those three as equal powers. The two guild leaders don't give a damn who finished the job because our guy already took one out. He gives that greedy guy a free pass and then, as if it's a joke, hands him an exploding core sword. And boom, that damn transformation golem is history. Our scumbag gets showered with instant level-ups and, of course, takes the icing on the cake. The sealed heart key granting access to the next secret area of the dungeon is now hers. Grandma turns to Eris and whispers that she's now one step closer to seeing her mother. Our guy is shaking with excitement over finding a tiny key, but she shuts him down with a, "Calm down, champ." It reminds us that the real challenge has only just begun. Meanwhile, our dear Haruto is spaced out, grinning as he stares at his status window. He jumped 9 levels at once, and naturally his stats have skyrocketed. If he activates the sword's power, his strength becomes level with a level 285 monster. Soon, he'll be one of those legendary solo hunters. He's celebrating to himself with a stupid grin while emptying his bag. People will think you've lost your mind. To him, celebrating this much after taking down a mediocre boss is pure tackiness, but Nanes pipes up. Of course we're complaining about his spoiled celebration. But it says they were literally starving to death to kill that monster. Just as he's about to say he's finished, a dark figure suddenly appears behind him. Massive pillars start rising not just behind him, but all around everyone. Looks like some kind of bomb trap, normally the kind hunters set to blow up monsters, but now the tables have turned, man. The barrels are pointed at them. Right then, Shirasaki yells for everyone to hit the ground. And boom! All hell's breaking loose. Man, what was that? It's like they dropped an atom bomb. What's going on there? Holy cow! All those poor hunters have long since been crushed like bugs. Poor things, what a shame. Can someone just hit Ctrl-Z here, huh? That would be so nice. An undo button would be a lifesaver. Walking calmly among the corpses, Kurosaki says setting up this whole arrangement cost a fortune. Leaving the violence aside, the man is right, gentlemen. This was the most efficient solution. But what is that? Suddenly someone shouts. He sees the spider web coming at them and shouts that the target is found. You all know very well who he is, my friends.